This program is brought to you by freekeen.com. Freekeen.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. Freekeen.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. Freekeen.com.
You have to have that positive mental attitude, and the training and the planning and all this helps, because bad things happen. It could be even at the boss. You have a boss who's a really jerk and he swears at you and you bite your tongue because you're living paycheck to paycheck. However, if you've got 6 months of food in your house and you've got money stored up, you say, boss, you know where to go. And I literally went through this situation just about 8 weeks ago. And I did. No joke. Executive with a local defense contracting company, and I had a major strategic disagreement with the boss, and it became personal. And I said, you know what? I no longer need to listen to you. And my wife would have been hysterical, except we follow our own plans. And so we're able to calmly, methodically, rationally think about, okay, what is it we have to do, where we're going. We know we're good for months and months and months, or even years if we have to. And that's a result of careful planning. So you can see some of these things in the picture. There's a lot from Katrina and FEMA, sorry we're closed, and Camp FEMA. And the main message is you cannot count on FEMA or the government. There's some decent people working there, but not all of them. So you have to be responsible for yourself. So if you can see these pictures, these things are fun. Going out fishing and hunting and killing alligators, that's not disaster preparedness. It could help you come disaster time, just dealing with the adrenaline and the stress. And I have some machine gun shooting stuff up there, but we won't worry about that now. That's fun too. So go out and enjoy your life, because that's the thing. We don't need to be walking around always nervous and suffering and oh, who's out to get me and what's going to happen. Enjoy your life. Live your life. That's why we're here. We should be happy and work at being happy, and being prepared can help us with our happiness. So back to the dozen tips. Number one, extremely important. Take time today when you're going out and having a drink, whatever. Understand your threats. Disasters do happen every day, whether they're earthquakes or hurricanes or floods, fires, riots. What happens in the area of the country that you live? We've gone through 2 ice storm, blizzard, blackouts in a row in this country. In California, they always have mudslides and fires. And who knows what happens if the banks go under and more banks start to collapse if we have riots or insurrection. Start thinking about it. Make a plan. It's not that difficult. And paranoia doesn't mean that they're not out to get you. They may be. So you're a little paranoid, keep a smile on your face. And then the other point is, there are not enough first responders in the country to help each and every one of us. There are 1 million uniformed cops, about a comparable number of firemen and paramedics and this sort of thing. If something really bad happens, one, you can help them out by being prepared yourself, because that way they can deal with only the victims, the direct victims of the accident. But 2, you don't want to be just sitting there waiting for 3 days for somebody to come by and give you a hunk of moldy government cheese. So the second point is, make a plan. You're not going to the FEMA camp. Stay out of the camp. So learn to be prepared. Plan for your threats. Have a family meetup plan. If it happens during the day and the kids are at school or this or that, everyone needs to know who's going to get whom, where you're going to meet, what's point A, or if something bad has happened at point A, what's point B. Which neighbors are responsible, reliable, which one's not. Which one has that weird look in his eye. You have to start thinking about these things ahead of time, because bad things happen. We all know that. A family communications plan. Walkie-talkies are very cheap and lots of channels. How are you going to decide whether you stay or go? Don't make that decision when you've heard about the storms on the radio. Think about it now. a level of escalations. Okay, if this happens, we'll stay. If this happens, we'll stay. If this happens, we'll stay. If this happens, we move. And then we're going to go where? Understand where you want to evacuate to if you have to evacuate, and how. Are you going to take your cars, your bicycles, your campers? Will you have something in place ahead of time? Include your trusty neighbors in your planning. Define the roles for the people in your family. Especially if you have children, something bad's happening, and if the parents are running around screaming and getting this, that, and make sure they have something to do. Not only does it help them think about what could happen and be prepared, but it keeps them occupied when the fire's coming, so they're not panicking and running around and hiding under a bed so that you have a difficult time finding them. And write your plan down. Write it down. Have a couple copies of it. Have a backup plan just in case. Just in case. Follow your plan and survive and thrive. If you think about it, you can have a mental plan, that's fine. But when things happen, your body goes through different physiological responses, and you get tunnel vision, and you start to lose the ability to hear everything clearly. You focus this. It's the fight or flight reaction coming through in your body. You may not think clearly. If you have a plan and it's written in huge font, and you have, keep it simple, 6 things that you're going to do. Find the kids, get the car, do this, do that, drive to Aunt Betty's 3 towns over. You have a plan. It does not need to be much more complicated than that. Next slide, please. And this is more about making a plan. I call it the rules of 3s, because you can generally survive for 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 to 4 minutes without oxygen, and I say 3 months without friends and family. I kind of just made that up. But if you think about those things, that's what you have to plan to deal with. So, and it makes it simple. And if you think about this, then you don't panic. Panic, I don't know if you've ever seen anybody panic. People freeze, their eyes bug out. I used to be a lifeguard. I'll never forget watching a poor girl drowning. I had to go in and save. And her arms were flailing. This much of her body was out of the water, and then she'd go down and up, and her eyes were about 2 inches out of her head. She could not say a thing. She couldn't scream help. She was paralyzed in her face. It was unbelievable. So, and as long as you follow that, you have your plan, 3 minutes of thinking outside of the impact zone. So, boom, if a plane crashes on your house, get the hell out. But don't just run away crazy. Just get out away from the immediate danger. Sit down. Where's your plan? Take a deep breath, think, and then act. Act rationally. And if you think about it, you plan and you practice 33 minutes of training a month. A minute and 0.001 a day. Just so that you're thinking. Just so that you're thinking. That's all it takes. Next slide.